There are three basic selection tools used to select objects in different ways in Adobe Illustrator. They each have a unique behavior and are powerful in their own way. Let's explore these tools so you have a better understanding of how they work. Now, I'm beginning this video with the selection_01.ai file already open on my computer. And I have chosen my selection tool as the tool that I'm going to begin with. Now, the selection tool is the most general selection tool that we have. And if I click on anything with the selection tool, it's going to select the most primitive component of the object in which I click. Now, in this particular case, the pluralist logo is grouped together. Everything is grouped together as one single unit. So when I click on this, I am by default selecting the group. Now, this applies to any object in which you click. In this case, it's always going to be the group that I have selected. But if you have a shape, for example, if I draw a rectangle up here, the selection tool is going to select the most basic component, the entire shape that I click on. And when you click on a basic shape like this, you can click on the handle to resize the object. And I can, of course, do that with the pluralist logo too, but you got to be careful because I'm going to distort it as well. So we're going to undo that. But when I click on this with the selection tool, I have the most basic options available. I can hover over the corner and I can rotate the object in different ways. Rotate it back or adjust it in a number of ways. Now I'm just going to delete that. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this pluralist logo again. Now, if I click off of it, I'm going to go over here and click on the direct selection tool. So let's take a look at how this one works. If I click on one of these letters, I'll click on the letter R. You're going to notice that the direct selection tool isolates the component to its basic shape. So instead of selecting the entire group, when I use the direct selection tool, I can click on one component of that group. And I can click on each individual component. Doesn't really matter what I click on here. I can select that object. Now, the direct selection tool works a little bit differently because using this direct selection tool, I could click on a shape. And then what I could do is click on the individual points of the path that generates that shape. So let me do that again. I'm going to click on the P. You can see that all of the anchor points are selected. But now if I click on an individual anchor point, only that point is selected. Now if I shift click on this anchor point, now both of them are selected. And if I click and drag, you'll see that I can distort this shape in a unique way. So if I wanted to, I could maybe click on the T, click on these anchor points, and then I can click and drag in a similar fashion to create an interesting looking logo. So the direct selection tool allows you to drill down into more isolated components of the object in which you click. Now, if you notice on the direct selection tool, we have a little arrow in the lower right corner, and that indicates there's more tools available underneath there. So if I click and hold, you'll notice that there's another tool in here called the group selection tool. Now, if I choose the group selection tool, the group selection tool's job is to allow me to break down a group into its individual components. So if I click on a letter, like the letter R here, it's going to select the letter very similar to the way that the direct selection tool was working. But watch this. If I click on it again, it's now going to select the whole pluralist logo, because the letter R is only one component of the overall group. So when I click it again, it's going to expand the selection to select all the items within the group that the R belongs to. Now, if I click on this again, you're going to notice it's also going to include the word the. So you can click on individual objects, and then each time you click, it's going to continue to expand the selection to contain the next object or the next selection that the group is contained in. So again, I'll just click off of this. If I click on the letter U, it selects the U. Click it again, it selects the pluralist group. And I click again, and it selects the overall group. So it's just a couple of ways that you can utilize these three different tools. Understanding how these selection tools work will help you to quickly determine the right tool for the job. Now that you know how to use them, Take advantage of them to help you work more efficiently inside Adobe Illustrator.